In my last video, we looked at how business strategy should be involved in your new website strategy and how to connect the dots between the top 5 C's of company, capabilities, customer, climate, and competitors, and how that contributes to the decision-making process when you're planning your new site. Today, I wanted to dive deeper into just this first one, company, and how we look at from an internal perspective of where you're at now. What are your capabilities as your company sits right now to move forward into that next step? So what do we look at? First of all, we look at, and it's pretty obvious, your overall business goals. So are they your short-term 6-month, 12-month goals through to your 3 to 5 years? Where do you really want to be? How are you positioned with your competitors? Do you want more market share? Are you trying to launch a new product? Are you just wanting to serve your customers better with a better distribution method or a digital engagement piece, customer portal, or whatever that might be? So there's a whole bunch of options here, and they are very specific to your business. So we contribute those back into how a new website is going to connect to those goals. The next is we look at a very standard MBA component is your SWOT analysis. So what are you currently, your strengths? What are you currently really good at? And how can we leverage that strength and really drive your company harder? As an example of that, we've worked with a manufacturer who is brilliant at producing products, creates some fantastic high quality goods, but their weakness was their marketing. They just haven't communicated and couldn't communicate that to the broader market. So their inquiries were suffering. So there's a massive opportunity there in that process to really bring that company to life online and introduce new customers to them. What a great opportunity it is to use digital for that experience. The next example of that was someone who's pretty much the opposite actually, a really good self-promoter, so getting masses of leads, but had a really shit delivery. So they've got bad reviews, they might have a history of online that's not so great. So that's a different approach when we're creating a new website. We've got to go into sort of a bit of rescue mode, look at how we broaden the message out to really drive and turn that ship around, if you like, from a communications perspective online. So there's lots of different nuance as to how a new website can tackle those components. The third is culture. So culture really sets the tone for the messages on your site. So how integrated are you going to present your team? What is the team's other teams' profiles going to drive through LinkedIn and through socials, Facebook, Instagram? What are the photography you use on the site? How is that going to connect to your unique culture, your personal brand, your brand position in your site? So where does that sit now? And obviously, where do you want that to be with any new site? So it's your messaging and the integration of that tied in. So the fourth, but certainly not last, I'm going to call it the 4 P's. Those marketers out there are very familiar with the term, and from my MBA hat on, the first one is product. So what is it you are actually selling? Is it a physical product, a digital product, a service? Is it a mix of physical product that needs support? Is it a digital piece of software that needs support? What are the components that go into that? How do you currently sell that now? What does that look like? The second is price. And I've done a few videos on how to deliver price and present value online. As soon as you publish that price online, obviously you're competing with the rest of the planet. So there's a whole argument around how you build value online, and that's a big discussion outside of this, but please have a look at some of my other videos on that. The next is around place. So the consideration about place is the distribution method. Are you distributed online? Are you particularly located in a particular region? because if you are, you can use your marketing in a whole more targeted way with regional search and geo-targeting, but you might be global, so how are you distributing that? Are you using 3PL out of China for your inventory tracking? There's a whole complex web, depending on the type of product and service that you're offering, about your place. The fourth, but people think it's probably the most important, is promotion. And when you're thinking new website, you automatically think, I just got to promote my business better. Promotion is the key. Well, promotion comes after all of this is sorted and planned and delivered. So you can see how critical. What is promotion? Well, it's how you sit in Google search, the organic search results. It's how you do paid advertising in Facebook or Google. It's whether you do print or outdoor advertising with signage. How are you going to engage the user? It's using influencers on Instagram and connecting those sales right through that process. How are you going to integrate those influences? It's if you're using broadcast, if you're appearing on television ads, you're going to have masses of audience and visitors to your site, sometimes in a very short space of time. Therefore, your technology choices need to be very, very supportive of that. Being able to deliver to a bunch of traffic is just such a critical part of that technology choice. So you can see here, just this first component, there's so much to think about. Our process at KND take you through that and really get you comfortable with where you're at now and where your new website can integrate with each of those components. In my next video, I'm going to talk about the capabilities of your business and how that relates to your new site.